If you master E flat tuning, then you can do cool and fun stuff like this. Hey everybody, it's Matthew. Welcome back to the channel. Today, the Magic of series is back once again, and today we are looking at E flat tuning, which is of course still in a standard tuning, and you might be thinking, what fun and interesting things can we possibly do with a normal old tuning like that that's not really that alternate? Well, we're going to talk about a few things. There's not a ton to talk about, of course, but there are still some cool things with this tuning that are worth learning about, so let's get right into that. And of course, before we do that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It is the easiest thing you can do to support this channel and support me and help this channel grow. We're on the road to being monetized, which will take a very long time probably, but you guys can help me get there if you hit that subscribe button. Okay, so let's talk about the basics of this, which is, of course, the extended range of the tuning, because we are tuned a half a step down. And real quick, tuning notes, of course, let's talk about those. We've talked about them before in some other videos, but here it is, of course, right now. So we got the E flat. We got the A flat. We've got the D flat. A G flat. A B flat. And then ending with the other E flat. So basically same spacing and all of that as a standard tuning, but everything's been tuned half a note lower. And now, does it matter if you call it, E flat or D sharp? Not really. Contextually, there's not going to be that many cases where it's going to matter whether or not you're calling it sharp or flat. There are some, but that's theoretical stuff that we're not going to talk about in this video. So extended range, of course, because where your typical E power chord would be and your E chord would be this, with your open shape. That, of course, changes, and now to play an E chord, it would be this. If you just want the basic power chord, of course, we add the third here so we can do it. And that's our E chord now, because this has become the E flat chord. And of course, you have that extended range, so you can do things like this with using the tonic and all those different things. You want to do that, use the extended range that way if you want to. It's a really good tuning for metal because of that, because we get just a little bit lower of a note here. It can sound a little bit meaner with distortion and all those fun metal things like that, of course. And other big thing, we got the same chord shapes, but they are different chords. Every chord is going to be a half step lower. So you've just learned a bunch of new chords without doing anything. Isn't that fun? Because your D flat chord, A flat, and then a D flat. So there's that, pretty easy to go off of there. And do that fun little change there, which is technically out of key there, but that's always a fun chord, you know, but it's the same shapes. You got that, you got a G chord too. That's always a fun move, of course, going from the G, well, the G shape to the E shape, especially with the power chord. And all that usual things there, so we don't need to go over that. So now you know that all your chords you got are half a step lower. And of course, if you want the other ones, your normal ones, just do this shape. Well, this, okay, it would be like that if you were on this string. So we can still get to our same chords by doing this. So, yeah. You get a bunch of extra chords there just because you've tuned it down a little bit lower. Of course, the other thing about E flat is it is the tuning of the greats. There's a lot of classic, really awesome players that use E flat tuning, namely Jimi Hendrix and, of course, Eddie Van Halen. Those guys were known for doing E flat tuning. So that's a fun thing to remember there, that if you're playing in E flat, you're using the same tuning that all the big boys usually use. And of course, your typical Jimi Hendrix style blues. Or something like that, you know. The Jimi Hendrix style of blues is kind of a little tricky sometimes if you hadn't studied it, because it's not standard blues, you know. But of course, if you want to go up here and go fast, like you usually want to do in this position when you go up to the 12th fret, you know, you can do that. And of course, do that fun little vibrato trick there, very fun to do. And that, of course, brings us to our other point of this, which is doing vibrato and bends is easier because you have tuned your strings down. And the reason for that is when you tune them down, they actually get longer, technically. I mean, you're removing tension from them because that's how the tuning works. The more tension you put the string under, the higher its pitch is going to be. So we tune it down. And that also relieves the tension, which means we can do bends and vibrato a lot easier. So you can do this fun one like we just did with one finger very easily. Very easy vibratos, and you can even do step and a half bends if you want to. See, we even went a little bit over it there, which is always fun to go a little bit over, under sometimes. That's always fun. And you can even do it up here on the G string where it starts to get a little tougher. See, we actually went past it. We went there. We even did 2 whole steps on that bend. So that's some of the versatility there. That's why, one of the reasons why I like tuning lower is just the bends. You know, they're a lot easier and a lot more fun to do. I also like thinner strings. I got 9s on here, and I will do it even on shorter scale lengths too, and you can have even easier, more dynamic bends with that, of course. But one of the other things is a little bit more nuanced, is the slight change in the tone, because you've dropped some of that tension off of the strings, can make you play a little bit differently, you know. You may not go for quite the same licks and things like that as you normally would, because it sounds just a little bit different. So that makes you play different. I might have done that look normally, but it's always fun to do kind of bluesier things in a flat tuning like this. And fun things like that, whatever you want to do there. It can lend itself to a little bit darker of a sound, a little bit sinister kind of things. Augmented fourths, that's always a fun thing to do in a lower tuning like this. And actually, the piece that I did earlier in the video that I showed you how to do some things is in Phrygian, actually, which is a little bit weird, but that's a little bit darker tuning, and E-flat's really good at it, See, and it really lends itself to doing an augmented fourth because your fifth and your flat two are, an augmented fourth. Now, even we'll use the minor six a lot more, and even some things I'll just take out the fifth completely and use the flat five as an augmented fourth because we've taken the fifth out. Of course, you can go back to your main position down here if you want to. See, it likes to be lower just a little bit, of course, which is fine. Again, it's extended range that we talked about. But anyway, moral of that is it does lend itself to a little bit different style of playing, just a little bit, the tone that you're getting is always going to affect what your tendencies are going to be because your ear is going to be drawn to different types of sounds when it's not making quite the same ones that you would typically be accustomed to, and that's always fun. But anyway, not a whole lot that's different here with like standard tuning and those things, but I mean, there's a few unique and interesting things about it that are, super useful and really cool, and you can hopefully incorporate some of those things into your playing. Anyway, guys, this is a quick one, but of course, like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below, of course, and don't forget to click the bell so you get a notification for when a new video comes out on this channel. This has been, of course, the magic of E-flat tuning, and I will see you guys next time for another video. Have a good one.